Hey everyone, today we're going to be discussing similes and metaphors. This is going to be our first lesson in our figurative language unit. So first of all, what are similes and metaphors? Let's talk about both of them. Both similes and metaphors compare two or more subjects by highlighting their qualities. So what you're going to be doing when using similes and metaphors, you're going to take something that most people generally know a lot about, and you're going to compare it to something they don't really know anything about, that the thing that you're trying to describe to them. And you're going to use those two things to compare each other with their similar qualities. Similes compare by using like, as, than, or so. Now, a lot of times in the past, I've noticed we come to class understanding similes compare by using like or as, and we always drop the then or so. So I want to point out similes do compare by using the words then or so. Metaphors simply compare by claiming one thing is another thing. And we'll get some examples here in a little bit, but first let's talk about similes and metaphors, like I said already, are both examples of figurative language. Now, when we talk about figurative language, there's a bunch of different types of figurative language, and I want to point out that you can double dip your figurative language. And what I mean by that is sometimes a simile is also an idiom, or metaphor is also a hyperbole, those sorts of things. Now, a simile will never be a metaphor, and a metaphor will never be a simile because they are opposites. But you can double dip other types of figurative language. So because it's figurative language, this means we should not take similes and metaphors literally. So let's check out some examples. Okay, the first one here, my little brother is brighter than the sun. So here we're using then to compare two things. We're comparing my little brother and we're comparing him to the sun. Now this compares his intelligence to the brightness of the sun, because it's an idiom to say that somebody's bright if it means they're smart. So now we're saying he's brighter than the sun, which means he must be really smart. So that is an example of how to use a simile by using the word then. Here's another one. The new haunted house is terrifying, and so is my mom when I don't behave. Now here's an example using the word so. And we need to be careful when we use the word so as a simile. A lot of the times we're saying and so is. So here we're saying the new haunted house is terrifying and so is my mom when I don't behave. You can see the word so in sentences and not have a simile. So this compares my mom to a terrifying haunted house, and it suggests that she gets scary when I don't behave. The next simile, my grandmother is as gentle as a lamb. And again, just like the word so, the word as, when you have that in a sentence, it does not always mean you have a simile. A lot of times you'll notice when you have a simile, the word as is going to straddle that quality that the two things you're comparing share. So here your grandmother and a lamb are both gentle. So as gentle as. The word as is straddling gentle. So my grandmother is as gentle as a lamb. You're going to see as twice there, and is usually straddling that quality that you're using to compare the two. So here we're comparing my grandmother to a lamb. And for those people who know what a lamb is, they know it's gentle. It's usually soft. It's not harmful. And when we say my grandmother is as gentle as a lamb, we're trying to explain that my grandmother is a gentle person. She's not harmful. She's not going to be mean or nasty. Here's another simile. My friend's smile is like a warm blanket. So here we're using the word like to compare my friend's smile and a warm blanket. And we're using that understanding that people have of a warm blanket. It's usually comforting. We enjoy it, especially in the winter month. You get that heated blanket out, and it feels good. So what we're saying here is we're comparing my friend's smile to the comfort of a warm blanket, and it's suggesting that her smile makes you feel good. All right, let's look at some metaphors. Gabe was a beast on the football field Friday night. So a lot of times you don't even realize it, but you're using metaphors in your daily conversation. So you may have said something like this before when discussing a football game with a friend. So Gabe was a beast on the football field Friday night. Now metaphors we tend to struggle with a little more, but just like similes, metaphors do have those key words that you need to pick up on. Was, is, will be, are, those sorts of things are those highlighting words that you can use to figure out we're talking about a metaphor. So here we're comparing Gabe to a beast, and we're not saying he's like a beast or he's as crazy as a beast or strong as a beast. We're saying Gabe was a beast. So we're saying he was a beast. So that's why it's a metaphor. And that just means that he played well and aggressive and was strong on the football field. My little brother is a pig at the dinner table. So here we're taking that people generally know pigs are sloppy and can be messy, and we're comparing it to my little brother by saying he is a pig, and that's is our key word there. So this compares my brother to a pig, and it suggests that he's sloppy and maybe lacks table manners. The children are angels when visiting relatives, but fight with each other when they get home. So here we're saying children are angels. Are is our key word there. And we're comparing them to angels. We all know what angels are. We all know that they're great and obviously are they behave. So we're saying how the children are well behaved when they're at the relative's house, but when they're home, they're fighting with each other. You will be a shining star if you just get the opportunity to sing at the city's talent show. So here we're saying you will be. So that's another one of our keywords there, will be. So be, will be, is, are, those are all our keywords. You will be a shining star. So we're comparing you to a shining star. And a lot of us use the word stars and think of people. So you have the movie star, a pop star, and that's because it is so commonly known as a comparison tool. So what we're saying is we're comparing your abilities to the way a star stands out when it shines brightly. So if you're looking in the sky and you're trying to find stars, you're obviously your eyes are gonna be drawn towards the one that shines brightly. And what we're saying is your abilities are like that. You're gonna stand out. And it suggests that people are gonna notice your great voice if you get the opportunity to perform. Once you get the hang of it, it's a piece of cake, or it's as easy as pie. You see what I did there? It is a piece of cake. That's a metaphor. Or as easy as pie. That's a simile. And they are both idioms, things that people say, and it should not be taken literally. Obviously, a metaphor is not a piece of cake. A simile is not a piece of cake. You're not going to eat those. That's just a way to compare the two things. Have a great day. We'll talk more figurative language later.